in California's 31st Congressional District. Unfortunately, she was unable to stay on long with us because she was at a police rally supporting the police in the great 31st Congressional District. And they were invaded by, of course, the barbarians, Black Lives Matters, and other remnant groups who were proclaiming the desire to, let's just say, defund and dismantle the police. And so we agreed for her to come back tonight, and we are so grateful for her doing so. We are looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Agnes Gibboney is actually from Budapest, Hungary, believe it or not, making her way to the United States over the years, and quite frankly, has done a marvelous job promoting what is conservatism, constitutionalism, capitalism, individual sovereignty to the world. I want to introduce some and present to others Ms. Agnes Gibboney. Good evening, ma'am. It is a tremendous honor and pleasure to have you on the air with us tonight.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. It's really good to be here with all of you, with like-minded patriots.
Yeah, yes, most definitely. Unfortunately, and this is a gross injustice, that Americans are under the derision and dissension that comes from mob rule. And you went out to peacefully protest in support of the police, and there are others who came to be adamantly opposed to law and order. Can you speak to that tonight?
Yes, we found out, I'm a cabinet member for the Redlands Tea Party Patriots, and we found out that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were going to have a rally against the police, to defund the police. So within a couple of days, we gathered just as many people as they had to wave our American flags and to stand our ground in support of law enforcement. And so they came. Let me tell you, we were separated by a little fence and then some heavy-duty, I don't even know, metal containers. I don't know what they were. Mm-hmm. And then another fence. So they were on the other side. All you could hear is shouting. Young kids, the majority were not black, few black in comparison to the number that was there, and truckload of cussing and swearing, middle finger up in the air, I can't breathe signs, defund the police, F the police, and pigs. I mean, all kinds of derogatory comments and screaming. Of course, our side, we were singing a national anthem, singing America the Beautiful, and chanting USA, USA. And the more we chanted USA, the more mad they got. So this standoff lasted for, I would say, about a good hour and a half. Wow. And at one point, more police came, and they were in this buffer zone in between us. And to my right, there was a building that had like a little terrace, but it was elevated. And I said, I'm going to go over there because I can get a good view from up higher, our patriots, and then this mob. And anyways, it was sad. It was really sad. There was this young lady, and I use that term very, I shouldn't even call her a lady because she didn't act like one. Yeah. But this young woman, probably in her teens, late teens, and the garbage that spewed out of her mouth and the rage that she displayed, I mean, waving her hands and arm and just the expression on her face. And all I kept thinking was, I would like to know, to sit down one-on-one and say, what is your point? Let's sit down and talk like normal human beings. None of this cussing and screaming in my face like they do. I won't not have that. I would never entertain that. Yeah. And next thing I know, they started coming in. There was a little gap. They started coming in by the police that was standing there to walk into our side. And I motioned to the guy standing next to me with the bullhorn. I says, tell the cops, don't let him in. Why would they let the opposition onto our side so they can create more havoc and fights? No, they need to stay on their side. So the police told them to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And within like 5 minutes, I'm videotaping, and I thought, things kind of got a little empty over here. And I turned around, and my heart just sank. There were about 10, 12 maybe, Antifa behind me.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, holy cow. And I'm by myself over there. And then I thought, holy cow. I immediately turned my video off, and I put my sign, support the police, held it down, and very softly I said, excuse me. And this black kid, he was very respectful. He says, let her go, she's cool. And I got out of there, and I thought, whew, I can breathe.
Wow.
But it was a tense moment, because these kids have no problem in attacking a senior individual. They have no problem attacking a woman, no problem attacking anybody. They think nothing of it. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to be one of their victims. So exactly. I got out of there. I stood to the background. That's when I tried calling you guys, and it was just so incredibly loud that I just couldn't hear. And I apologize,
no.
To your audience that I couldn't do the interview yesterday. But then we started going towards the back of the building. There was a very wide staircase. We were going to take a group picture. And next thing I know, I said, okay, take a picture. And people are coming and going. And I said, just take the picture, because I wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
I wanted to get out of there because I was by myself. I had to cross the street into the parking lot that I was at a shopping center. And so two guys started arguing. One started accusing the other that you're putting us in danger. And I look over to my left, and the entire mob was right there. Wow. And I thought, okay, take the picture. I'm out of here. I'm gone. And I gave a ride to my friend, Kenny. And he said, I'll walk you to your car. And I said, thank you, Kenny. He says, can you give me a ride to my car? Because they're going to follow me.
Yeah.
I got them on video as when they said, we're going to burn down Redlands tonight. And so he was afraid that he was going to be followed. So we kept looking behind our shoulders to make sure they weren't following us. And so I took him to where his car was, and we drove home. And he said, call me when you get home. I says, I'll text you when I get home. And I did. But it was tense because, this is not... I understand you wanting to say your point and what you believe in, but there's a way of doing. How is this working for them? To burn innocent people's businesses down, to hurt innocent people, to vandalize their cars, steal their goods. They're not gaining any more respect and recognition. They are being labeled Marxists. They're labeled criminals.
Indeed.
That's how I look at them.
And I got to ask you, because you refer to them as mob, and most people would say they're peaceful protesters. What is the difference between a peaceful protester and what you consider a mob?
Well, to me, and I'm not very political, I'm new to this whole thing, but to me a peaceful protest is you walk, you show your point, you show your signs, you don't engage with somebody in their face trying to steal their cell phone, trying to attack them. That's a mob. That's a gang mentality. A peaceful protest, you go, you say your piece in a peaceful fashion, you communicate reasonably with your audience or with the opposition. I think we can get a lot farther if we just talked.
Exactly.
But this yelling in your face and calling you names and cussing and hitting and breaking windows and vandalizing, burning cars and burning buildings, this is no way. It's not getting them any closer to getting a solution. And I think we are to that point that violence needs to be met with violence.
You know, and we're talking with Agnes Gibboney, and she is a warrior princess. She is running for office in the 31st Congressional District. Unlike a lot of politicians like Jerry Nadler, the congressman from New York, who says that this stuff is a myth. Exactly. Yeah, it's all a myth. She's actually right there on the ground, and she is speaking on behalf of Americans, standing up for our rights and our freedoms and our liberties at the risk of her own life. And I gotta ask you here, because as you were running in California, you used the term gang in that earlier reference, and I want to applaud you, because a mob is nothing more than really a gang that's seeking force to get its point across, and they really have no point other than violence and rhetoric and riots. But in addition to that, in the sense of gang, they would be subject to certain statutes, federal as well as state. Am I correct? If we would consider them as gangs for their rioting.
First of all, I do not even understand why the cities, any city, would allow them to gather. They say they're going to gather peacefully. It never ends peacefully.
Yep.
That's the problem. So eliminate that. Let's say you gather here, announce it right off the bat. You come here. You will be arrested. You will be detained. You will be cited, and you'll be going to court. None of this. Give them a citation. Come in the front door and get out the back door. None of this. This is why so many, like in California, criminals, pedophiles, murderers are being released from prison. Drug dealers are being released from prison at huge numbers. Of course, now in LA County, the number of shootings have increased quite a bit. In any of these places where they're releasing inmates, crime is increasing.
Yes.
Because look, it's a difference between I'm a human being, you're a human being, we're all human beings. We can make a mistake. We can make a mistake and get with the wrong crowd and do something stupid and get arrested. And while you're in there, behind those four walls, that 4x8 cell,
Yep.
or 6x8, whatever it is, you have plenty of time to think. I got with the wrong crowd, I made a mistake, I need to correct myself. These are repeat offenders, over and over and over again. These are career criminals. These are career gang members. Why should we allow them to come out on the street so they can victimize, create a new victim? Remember, there is no crime without victims. Doesn't matter what the crime is.
Now,
there are no somebody is going to be victimized, and we need to stop this. We need to put crooks where they belong. In California, unfortunately we don't have restitution. I mean, not restitution, rehabilitation, and so they learn nothing. You know, I've been to many different prisons to do victims impact statement. I've been to federal prison, youth correctional facilities, state prisons, you name it. I've been to most of them here in Southern California.
Yes.
And it is really interesting when you talk to these inmates. And there was one particularly out in Victorville at the federal prison. This guy could not keep eye contact with me. And he said, my brother was murdered. And I said, I'm really sorry about your loss. And he says, when I come out, I'm going to kill the guy. And I said, wait a minute. Just stop a minute. Do you like being here? He goes, no, ma'am. And I said, then why would you seal your fate for the rest of your life by taking somebody's life? Let karma take care of itself. Let karma take care of itself. And this guy started crying, and I almost gave him my information so I can mentor this guy, because I felt so bad. And I asked the lady that took us in, I said, can they get counseling? She goes, oh, we don't have counseling for them. This is an insanity.
Wow.
These are the type of people that could use some counseling, some good service. So when they come out, he was in there for, I think, bank robbery or something. So when he comes out, he can become a good member of society. Like when I speak at the youth correctional facility, I asked the young men and women there. I said, "Do you like being in here? Do you like being told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it?" And he goes, "No, ma'am." And I said, "Okay, think about what your crime was. Think about objectively, realistically, and honestly, where did you go wrong? And try to make a correction. You could be a tremendous counselor because you have experienced this life in here. I haven't. I come in, I do my speech, and I say adios, and I leave. But I said, you guys stay here. So you could use this experience to mentor other young teenagers not to end up where you are.
Exactly.
So this is not the end of the world. This is just a new beginning. But you know, the system doesn't support that. We just release criminals. It's just like a pedophile. My gosh, there's no cure for that.
Exactly.
They reoffend and reoffend. Why are we allowing them out?
Exactly.
Without supervision?
Agnes, you are going for the position of a congresswoman out of the 31st Congressional District out in California. And you mentioned the fact that there's a limited amount of rehabilitation in the prison system, and especially in states like California where there is seemingly a deal done with the devil to release criminals onto the street almost as quickly as they commit their crimes. There are lots of Americans today in Segway who are thinking, what crime did I commit where I had to be locked down in my home and I couldn't go to church and I couldn't go to anything other than the Walmart, and I have to wear a mask even though there is no proof that the mask actually does anything to stop anyone from getting COVID-19. I feel my liberties and freedoms are taken from me. What could you do from Congress to make certain that these states never become dictatorial again over a public safety issue?
Well, I can't do anything, as you know, because it takes all Congress has to agree. But hopefully, I can bring some integrity and some common sense to the House of Congress.
Yes.
I think it seems like my incumbent, he's supporting the organization Black Lives Matter. He's supporting defunding the police. See, he is putting in danger his own community, specifically the lower income, the inner city individuals, and that's a crime. He forgot at some point that he's representing all of them, everybody. Yeah. He's not just representing the Latinos. He's representing the whites, the Caucasians, the blacks, the Asians, everybody, Indians, and he forgot that. You cannot go into Congress and say, "Oh, I'm going to be supporting Hungarians because I'm Hungarian." No, I am going to support everybody. I want to have an open door policy. You have issues. If there's something that I can do, I would definitely do it. But number one, I wouldn't just put my eggs next to some bill that you're bringing forth just so I can fit in with the crowd.
Yes.
I am not a crowd follower. I have my own mind. I have my own beliefs, my own integrity, and I'm not a follower. Now, if somebody comes and explains to me that maybe my views could be different and elaborate on that, and I go, you got a point there. I will reconsider. But I am not a follower. Exactly. And many of these elected officials they just vote party line, regardless of how ridiculous it is.
Exactly. Now, you mentioned the fact that there are individuals who are akin to a narrative or a party that they could care less about their constituents. So here's a question to you regarding the constituency out in California. There are over 2 million newly illegal aliens that have come into California. California IA, spelled with a capital K. And they are being taken consideration for the census. And the reason why individuals want them to be counted is because it gives more political power to Nancy Pelosi out of California. So I want to ask you here, what are your thoughts on illegal aliens, and what are your thoughts in terms of them potentially impacting voting in the United States?
Number one, I am not against legal immigration. I want to get that out there. My family legally immigrated here. We didn't come here by marrying a U.S. citizen. We didn't come here by crawling over the fence, under the fence, or coming here as a tourist and overstaying our visa. We waited our turn. That is the greatest honor and respect you can give to a country. And when I took that oath of citizenship to defend and protect my country against foreign and domestic invaders and defend the Constitution, I'm doing exactly that. These elected officials that were born in this country, they're destroying this country, and we need to pay closer attention. I hope that this we need some immigration reform, definitely, because what we have obviously isn't working because nobody's beginning to even enforce it. I do not think that those that are here illegally should be counted. I would make it, if I could, a federal offense to vote, because it is against the law for someone who's not a naturalized citizen to vote. That's against the law. And start enforcing the damn law.
There you go.
If you start enforcing and arresting 1, 2, 3, 4, then the rest is going to say, oh, hell, I'm not doing this because I don't want to be arrested. I don't want to be under the radar. But why should we count people that snuck in? We don't even know how many. They say it's been 11 million for the past 20 years. It's probably about 30 or 40 million.
Exactly.
Because my math is not this crazy math that they do in elementary school now, that not even the teachers can teach it because nobody can figure the thing out. But I'm being realistic. The fact is there's a lot more illegal aliens here than we know. I am completely opposed to any kind of amnesty.
There you go. There you go.
Amnesty just invites more illegal aliens to come in. Ronald Reagan was the first president I voted when I became a U.S. citizen. And I love Ronald Reagan. I have incredible respect for him. But he said this is the only one time we're going to give amnesty, and then Congress did absolutely nothing to enforce the laws, to build a wall, to deport the other illegal aliens that came in after that. No, they just kept on coming. When do you say enough?
Exactly.
Because here is the other problem. 2 weeks ago, I had surgery. 2 weeks and 3 days, I had surgery, kidney surgery. I had kidney stone. They almost didn't do it. They said that they might cancel all the surgeries. Initially, my urologist said they're not doing surgeries until after November 10th.
Wow.
And I go, okay, here I got a kidney stone here, one in each kidney, so what if something happens? Well, then you go to the ER. The first time I went in the ER, I got taken care of quite quickly. There was only 2 people sitting there. I was there for, about probably 2 hours. I didn't see a doctor. I saw a physician assistant.
Yeah.
ER was not busy at all. This COVID thing is a bunch of baloney.
Thank you.
I mean, that the hospitals are overcrowded. I'm not saying that there are some patients that are dying and they have contracted COVID. It's a very, very real virus. The ER was dead. Was desolate. It was a desert in there. And all the rooms were empty. They were darkened. And they have many rooms in that facility. Second time, I had surgery on the 9th. On the 13th, they took the stent out, and my kidney spasm, something got awful. I couldn't stand the pain anymore. It was the most excruciating pain ever. So my daughter drove me to the ER. I had to stand in line to get in.
Wow.
And I walked in and I'm thinking, what in the heck is going on here? Every 6 feet distancing, every seat was taken. I was able to, one person got up and I go, I'm claiming the seat right now. Mm-hmm. And they called me in, did my blood test, urine test, took my blood pressure. Of course, my blood pressure was really high because I was in so much pain. And I asked the nurse, I says, what happened here? Why there's so many people here? I counted 21 people sitting there. And he goes, oh, the clinic, the urgent care clinic, is sending patients over here because they may have symptoms of COVID. And I'm thinking, are you freaking out of your mind?
Oh my
God. I'm going to contract, and they had my hospital demanded I do that COVID test that they stick all the way up to your brain.
Yeah.
On Tuesday the 7th, and if that would have come back positive, they would have not done my surgery. Didn't matter how important and urgent it was. Mine became an urgent situation because the stone dislodged and it was stuck. And I looked and I'm thinking, you have got to be kidding me.
Wow.
You have got to be kidding. Well, as a result, not to mention the bathrooms inside the ER. This is after you go inside, not in the waiting area, the public one in the hallway, but the bathroom inside was a disgusting mess.
Wow.
Toilet paper overflowing in the trash. And I thought, I told the nurses, I can't even go in there to collect my specimen because you can't approach the toilet. It's a lake in front of the toilet. And she said, so just try this other bathroom. It was no different. And so I filed a health department complaint against my own hospital, and also that they are pouring in their COVID patients in there that could or could not. Now they have these two gigantic tents outside. Why aren't they in there?
They go past the COVID tents and go into the ER. Oh, you gotta.
I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, am I in a third world country here, or what is this? And then the other thing is, because so many people got Obamacare, they get their Medi-Cal, they don't go to the doctor, they don't go to urgent care, they pack the ER.
Exactly.
ER is meant to be for patients like me that were in excruciating pain, post-op complications, that I needed immediate attention. And I said to the nurse, I says, can you please, I was begging.
Yes.
I said, I took a pill before I left. Before, when the pain started, when I got home, when they took the stent out, 50 milligram tramadol, that's what they gave me, 50 milligram, and 400 milligram ibuprofen. I took both of them. It did nothing for the pain. And 7.5 hours in excruciating pain. If I had a gun, I probably would have blown myself away because I was desperate. And I asked the nurse, I says, can you please give me something for the pain? Well, you have to see a doctor first. And I said, okay, how long before I see a doctor? Well, about 5 hours.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I must tell you, Agnes, I must tell you that this has given America one of the biggest sore black eyes when it comes to healthcare. The whole maltreatment of COVID-19 by the politicians. I want you to come back in a couple of weeks because I want to talk with you because you're from Budapest, Hungary, an American naturalized citizen. You noted, just historically from whence you came, what a country will do to cause oppression and what the impact is on the citizenry. And we're beginning to see a lot of that happen here in the U.S. You're running for office. There are people who want warriors like you on the battlefield of Congress, going up against the Jerry Nadlers and the Nancy Pelosi's. How can people support your campaign? How can people get in contact with you? How can people support your campaign?
Well, they can visit my page, agnesgibboney.com. That's AGNESGIBB as in boy, ONEY. And my Facebook page is the same, Agnes Gibboney for Congress. The one thing that I desperately need right now is donations.
Yes.
So I can have mailers in September before the mail ballots go out to the residences. But any donation would greatly help. I am very, very responsible and very careful how I spend the donations that I get. And trust me, it is incredibly put to good use. Nothing is squandered. I don't take a penny for myself.
Exactly.
Nothing. I don't reimburse myself for anything. And
so you don't.
About,
so you don't buy $15 pint ice cream like Nancy Pelosi. Is that?
Oh no. No. And you know what a slap in the face when the whole country shut down. You couldn't even go to Thrifties to get a ice cream cone because they completely shut that down. And she's parading her $15 pint ice cream. That's a slap in the face. But I'll tell you one thing. When this whole thing started, I went to the grocery store, and of course, the paper aisles were completely empty. And I was in the aisle where bread was. And I looked, there was one bread here, one there, scattered just maybe 2-3 loaves of bread. Everything was gone. And I looked and I'm thinking, I am actually kind of smiling, not that I'm enjoying this, because I'm in a state of panic because I know what's coming.
Yes.
And Americans need to wake up. But there was a couple behind me, and the wife said, "Oh, honey, look, there is no bread." And I turned around and I said, "Isn't this amazing?" And she goes, "This is incredible. There's no bread." And I said, "This is really good that this is happening. All these empty aisles. You can't buy rice. You can't buy beans. You can't buy meat. You can't buy toilet paper. You can't buy eggs. You can't buy anything." And I said, "This is really good." And she looked at me like, huh?
Yeah.
I said, "You know why? This is an introduction what socialism really is."
Wow.
I came from a socialist country, and when the government tells you how much you can have and when you can have it, that's socialism for you. If we don't think about it, we ran out of toilet paper, United States. We couldn't get toilet paper. How prepared are we? How prepared is this nation?
Exactly. Agnes Gibboney, ladies and gentlemen, someone who has experienced and knows out of her experience how to lead a nation from Congress, running in the 31st Congressional District. We thank you so much for coming on the air tonight. This will not be the only time we're going to have you back in a few weeks, because I want to talk with you about that experience. People are... humility has left us. We are arrogant people because we've had everything at our beck and call. And when a pandemic came, we began to see what Venezuela is really all like. Agnes Gibboney, ladies and gentlemen, you can find her at Agnes Gibboney for Congress. Agnes Gibboney for Congress. We will be back, ladies and gentlemen. I got to ask you two very, very important questions in this particular hour. The number one question is, do you know where your children are? The second, and I think even more important question is, do your children know where you are? We'll be back.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?